Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for clicking that YouTube or Facebook link. This is Jared's show. Jared, we're in the middle of January here, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's start off with them, lose. You can't even really call it a heartbreaker because it wasn't that close, but they lose at home to the hated Ravens.
Yes.
Your analysis?
It was tough. I mean, we knew it was going to be tough without Le'Veon Bell, and of course Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger had some issues to deal with as well, but yeah, Joe Flacco and them just come in, and for some reason, he seems to be Mr. Perfect in the postseason. And seriously, I mean, they started out well, and then all of a sudden they went in the tank. It's just bad breaks that hurt them, and penalties and turnovers went back to the same formula. And we saw what happened with the Steelers, and this is a tough way to end a really good season after we clinched the AFC North the week before.
I think especially disappointing because they played so well down the stretch, beat Cincinnati in such an emotional game at home, and man, I mean, we did win a division, but left wanting more.
Yeah, you wanted more, and believe me, the Steelers would have been right now getting ready for this title game this week, however, possibly, and everyone would have been excited. But you know what? It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the offseason. There's a lot of questions facing this team right now.
Absolutely. So today is Friday the 15th.
Yes.
And so we have Championship Sunday.
Yes. Which
is always one of my favorites. Sometimes I think it is even more exciting than the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Jared, please let your fans and viewers know your title game preview. Who's going to go all the way to Arizona?
Well, you look at Green Bay and Seattle. It's going to be a dogfight there Sunday in Seattle. I mean, Seattle's got the crown, the 12th man with them. Aaron Rodgers coming off that big win against Dallas last Sunday in Lambeau. They're traveling out there again this time. They traveled out there in September. I think Seattle's going to be ready for them again. I really do. I mean, as much as I'm going to pick the pack, I think Seattle, that 12th man, is too strong, and the crowd's going to be very emotional in this game. And believe me, I think it's going to be a close game. I'm looking at 31-24 in that one. I think Rodgers can put up a good fight, but Seattle's going to be back in the Super Bowl. I mean, not many people said it's going to happen. I think it will happen.
And talk about another team coming down the stretch hot. At one point, they were 500, I believe, early in the season, or they might have been even one game under.
Yep.
They're on fire right now.
New England, we're talking about. Yeah, Tom Brady and the Patriots are playing absolutely phenomenal right now. Bill Belichick, as much as we don't like the man, we have to give him credit. I mean, Indy, of course, coming off a great win in Denver last week, and Peyton Manning, which let John Fox's job basically cut loose. Now you look at this game in Foxborough Sunday night. It's going to be a tough game for Indy to win in Foxborough. Patriot fans are going to be hungry as well. I mean, right now, you could be seeing New England back in the Super Bowl again, and I think that's the way it's going to be come Sunday night.
So Seattle, New England.
Yep.
Okay. On the way over, we had a funny little talk. Were you sad to see the Cowboys lose?
No, I think if you talk about of all the playoff games this week and this year, it's been a wild postseason. I mean, the Cowboys, of course, I mean, sorry for Cowboy fans out there feeling hosed this week. Well, guess what? You hosed Detroit the week before, basically, by getting a call your way. So last week, turnabout's fair play. You look at Baltimore, New England, that was a tight game. You look at Indy and Denver, we talked about them just a few seconds ago. I mean, Peyton Manning got hurt in December, and that's what I think hurt them going further this season, and eventually let John Fox being go. You look at the other postseason games, Arizona and Carolina. I mean, Arizona, it was nice to see them put up a fight, if you're going to call it that, all season long. But I think once they stepped out of their comfort zone and played Carolina and Cam Newton, that's what hit them the most. So it's been a very interesting postseason, but we're not done yet. Like we said, we've got 4 more games left, or 3 more games left, I should say. The 2 championship games, the Pro Bowl, which no one watches really, and of course the big one in 2 weeks in Arizona.
Transitioning to the boys of winter. Jared, the Penguins have an emotional win in Montreal. The captain scores a big overtime game winner. And then earlier this week, just a shellacking of Minnesota at home, 7-2.
Yes, they're up. I mean, they're playing again up to their ability, which is great. And Crosby's finally getting back on the beam, which is great. That Montreal game is probably one of the best Penguin games we've seen in a long time.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was very emotional to go into a very hostile environment like Montreal. You saw what happened with the overtime goal. Then, of course, this week they just absolutely pummeled Minnesota. Tonight, we're seeing them right now winning 2-1 here after 1 period already, against a very decent Islanders team, which is going to give them a fight probably till the end of the season, going into the playoffs for the Eastern title. Then you got a big game with the Rangers coming up Sunday, and of course you got Philadelphia next week. So you got some big games coming up before the All-Star break. I mean, Crosby and Malkin making it to the All-Star game. We knew it was going to happen. Very good to see. And we're also glad to hear Mark Fleury made it.
Absolutely.
Also, despite the fact Nationals goalie went down with an ailment, he's going to be out for about a month. It was nice to see Mark Fleury get recognized.
Well deserved.
Well deserved.
Having a huge year.
Yeah, he is. And at first we didn't think he was going to be invited to the All-Star game, but somehow fate stepped in and said, guess what? We're going to make it 3 Penguins this year. That's really good to see.
Jared, the trade deadline will be here before you know it. Will we see a trade? Now we know, unfortunately, Oli Mata, boys, he had a tough year, out for the season. Hornquist still out. No real word on what's going on with him. what's the big trade? Who are we going to see come into town?
That's tough because Amada could have been, should have stayed healthy all year, and that would have been the glue to help this team. Being out all year kind of hurts him, really, and the Penguins a little bit. Still going further. I still think they have a chance to go a lot further despite that. Hornquist, he's due back soon, I think. We'll see him back hopefully in either before or after the break. I think after the break, by late January, early February, we're going to see him. The guy I think, or the two guys I'm looking at right now that could be on the man out, could be Todd Bertuzzo, or maybe, just maybe, I hate to say this, Simone Dupre possibly. I think those two could be on the chopping block if you ask me.
Yeah, two young defensemen.
Yep.
Young defensemen certainly prized in the NHL.
But they got a great deal, though, if you remember a while back, how again David Perron, who has just been phenomenal so far since they got rid of Clint Hammer. Clint Hammer, of course, we told on the last show, was someone in the doghouse, and I think that's what really kind of spelled his time as an end here in Pittsburgh. He really didn't do much, but so far David Perron has been just very exciting to watch, and I think if they can get another guy similar to Perron, this team's going to take off in the next few months.
Absolutely. Let's transition to round ball. We've got the three teams, of course, locally. Bobby Moe, your Pittsburgh Panthers, and the Dukes. Jared.
And Bobby Moe plays tonight in prime time, 9 o'clock on ESPNU against St. Francis, New York. That's going to be a great game out this season.
Yeah. The Panthers did get a win against Florida State. That was a good win. I'm a little worried that we're not going to see any team in the 20 this year. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's scary to think because right now, congratulations first off to Jamie Dixon getting number 300. That's just an accomplishment. 15 years he's been here, the longest we've had a coach in Stock Carlson back in the 20s through the 50s. Jamie Dixon, we criticize him year after year, time after time for not getting his team far in the dance. Well, guess what? He wins 25, 26, 27 games every year. He's been competitive in the ACC and the Big East. We've seen him through that. Now, they've had an up and down year so far in conference play, but that was a big win they needed the other night against Florida State. They got a tough G-Tech team tomorrow at the Peterson, and they got a real test on Monday night coming up in Duke, and that's going to be a very, very emotional game. You can bet on that. Of course, Duke has already lost a few games already, and they got Louisville tomorrow, but right now, Pitt, if they want to start making some noise and hopefully get back into the dance, they got to start winning big conference games.
They got to go on a run.
They got to go on a big run. Duke, Notre Dame, Louisville, Syracuse. You beat those teams, and maybe possibly, like I said, a Georgia Tech, or maybe possibly one of the other ones, like a Louisville. You're going to be making some big noise. Duquesne, the jury's still out on them. I think, as much as Jim Ferry's a good coach right now, they got a big test with VCU tomorrow. They lost the other night in St. Louis. That was tough, but the biggest blow so far to them was losing that one to Dayton and start out conference play. They always don't have a good luck, fortunately, with Dayton or G-Dub, but they got to start beating the masses, the Fordhams, the LaSalle. So I think we'll have to wait and see with them, but right now I don't see them making the tournament again as much as it pains me. And Bobby Moe, they started to turn around a little bit in conference play since that non-conference league, but if they want to keep competing with like Wagner, Mount St. Mary, Fairleigh Dickinson, and Long Island, you're going to have to start doing more than just losing these non-conference games like very close or blowout type games like 7, 8, 9, 10 points, something like that. But like I said, if Bobby Moe can get it together in the next month or so, they can make a chance to maybe get in the dance somehow. Right now, the jury's still out on them too. Absolutely.
Now, Jared, it didn't make your master list that you'd like to give me before the show in pre-production, but you know what? Let's just talk for the fans real quick.
Sure.
The Buccos signed Kang, the shortstop.
Yeah, 4 years, $11 million. We thought a few weeks ago it was going to be 4 at 16 or 4 at 20. Right now he's officially here. What position he plays, it will be interesting to see. Right now, the biggest question is, will Neil Walker be staying here after his contract's up? Right now, I know they haven't talked with him all winter. They got to get something done. Spring training's not far away, so hopefully they can get something done with Walker very soon. But from what we heard of this Kang kid, he can hit, he can field. He was Mr. All-Asian in the World Series over there in Korea. So let's see what he can do come spring ball.
Absolutely. We're going to jump back to the NFL real quickly, Jared. What's on your mind is wondering, is Goodell still on the hot seat? What kind of motion are we going to see post-Super Bowl going on with all of the drama we had this year? Ray Rice,
Greg Hardy.
All of them.
Yeah.
The guy, not Alden Smith, but the guy from San Francisco, of course. Jared, your thoughts on Goodell and...
Yeah, I think Roger Goodell is still on the hot seat somehow, some way. A lot of people said that the Ray Rice thing cooled down and it picked up again just a few days ago within the last 24 hours. We heard they came to an agreement for his contract that he was owed after being fired from the Ravens back in the fall. But I just think the way the NFL has been run this year and in the last several years, there's no choice to say, but yeah, Roger Goodell is very much in the hot seat at this point. Even though, however, they're talking about moving teams out of the city, like St. Louis moving back to LA possibly, like the Raiders possibly getting their own team. Right now, Roger Goodell knows that his hand is not being played with the full deck right now.
Jared, we tend to end the show with golf. You're a big golf fan.
Yes.
And not a lot of golf coverage on the fan, on Post Gazette. Jared gives you good golf coverage on every show.
Yeah.
All right, Jared, you want to know, is the golf season too long, and do they need more of an off season?
I think so, because I mean, you got your 4 majors every year. It depends on what course and what city you're playing in. You're playing in a different course every week. However, sometimes it's these little tournaments like they're going on in Hawaii right now. Sometimes it's like a big major like the Masters or the U.S. Open. However, and sometimes, however, that's all about TV ratings and your public watching on TV and being at the course itself. So yeah, I think they're going to cut back on this. I mean, they're trying to cut back on the off season. I mean, usually they end the season somewhat in October, but then again, you see these little rinky-dink tournaments, as I mentioned, like over in Asia, like in November and December. And that's fine and good. And that's on late night, however, and people can fall asleep watching them or just stay up and watch them. But yeah, I think it's time for the golf season to cut back a few months on their schedule.
All right, Jared, wrapping up, we have an exciting sports weekend for sure. The Pens are moved to 12:30 Sunday, is that right?
That is correct. Against the Rangers and Rick Nash. We'll be seeing them here on WPXI.
Championship Sunday, what a great day to watch Sports Sunday.
Yes.
And then the Pit is going down to
Duke, Monday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN in the Cameron Indoor Stadium, where Duke lost to Miami the other night, and they've lost 2 games now, which is incredible. They lost to North Carolina State the week before in Raleigh. They came back home the other night, played Miami. They were up 1 at the half, and then in the second half, they just went right down the hill and got blown up. I wouldn't say blown up, but they got spun around by the Miami Hurricanes.
Folks, there you have it, the mastermind, as always, more popularly known as the Loose Cannon.
Yes.
But he is my mastermind of sports for sure. We will see you next week with the Super Bowl predictions. Jared,
Yes.
Parting shots.
All I can say is the Super Bowl is going to be very interesting to see what happens, however, after Sunday. And, of course, like I said, we got a very busy week ahead of us. Pitt game, obviously. We got the Penguins coming up. The All-Star break is just on the corner of the NHL, so we'll get into that, I'm sure. And like I said, who else? I mean, what else we'll talk about? I mean, the one thing we might discuss possibly is the return of Tiger Woods in 2 weeks. He's due back in a few weeks, ladies and gentlemen, in Phoenix. So let's see what happens there.
There you have it, folks. This has been Jared's show, and that's a wrap. All right, Jared. Congratulations,
Thank
buddy.
you, sir.
Another great show.
Yes.
Hey, how are ya?